So I'm Melody, and I'm gonna talk a bit about how I went from psychology to data science, although there is still psychology in what I'm doing in data science. Um, so as an overview of my academic journey, I did 2 bachelor's degree in psychology and in linguistics in Paris before joining Global Minds. Then after Global Minds, so right now I'm in a PhD program in data science. So it's a bit like a Global Mind, but at the national scale. So it's 3 universities, but I'm at the University of Limerick. So 3 universities in that program, and we have courses together. So but I'm gonna talk a bit more about the program later. But yeah, it's a very interesting program. So that's where I am right now. So first steps in data science during Global Minds was I first started with my internship, which was I really wanted to do research. So I did it with Andrzej Nowak at the University of Warsaw at the Center for Complex Systems and New Technologies, because I knew he was doing work between social psychology and yeah, data science. So he was using data science methods to answer social psychology related questions, and it was a good experience. I think I've learned more during the master thesis than during the internship. Because sometimes I feel like 3 months or internship in research is probably not enough to do something complete, like from the start to the end. Then my master thesis, I did it at the University of Limerick under the supervision of Mike Quayle. So my question was, how do mothers and fathers talk about parenting to different audiences, stereotypes and audience effects, an analysis of our Reddit. So it's Reddit subreddits. I don't know if you know Reddit. It's a social media forum kind of platform. So these are 3 subreddits: Dadit, Momit, and Parenting, that I analyzed using topic modeling. Sorry. Okay. So I'm going to tell you a bit more about the master thesis now. It's also to show you how, because that was the most concrete step in between social psychology and data science. And I think this is what got me into my PhD program. So my master thesis, again, how do mothers and fathers talk about parenting to different audiences? The theoretical background I've used was audience effects, social identity performance. So how we, depending on the different social identity we identify with, how do we perform these identities in front of different audiences, and then gender stereotypes. So all those, if I didn't have my social psychology background, I wouldn't be able to build the study, because it's really based on that theoretical background. And then I have a data set. So I collected data from Reddit. I'm going to tell you a bit more. So how I collected the data, I identified users that I call mothers, who published both on the subreddit Momit and the subreddit Parenting, and users that I call fathers who publish both on Parenting and on Dadit. So these 2 sets of users, this way I could analyze audience effects. So how mothers do publish in Momit, which is mother only subreddit. How do they publish on Parenting, which is parents subreddit, so mixed gender subreddit, and then on Dadit, which is a single gender only for fathers subreddit. Then I've used LDA topic modeling. I think you don't need to know too much details about that, but it's a machine learning technique which summarizes different documents. So in that case, publication on Reddit, into different topics, but actually the topics we get is different words, so a set of words, and we need to make sense from this set of words. So actually, like words co-occurring in same documents, they would probably appear in one topic, and then you would have to make sense of those words together. But yeah, I think you don't need to know much more than this for now. So I found different topics. Here are all the topics that I found. Thank you, appreciation, medical care, education, family advice, birth, pregnancy, so etc. And then what I could do from that is that I could see in the comments of different users. So here you have fathers publishing in parenting, fathers publishing on Dadit, the dark gray, mothers on Momit, mothers on parenting. I could see how much they talk about those different topics. So my findings are that mothers, they talk a lot about the basic needs of children, such as sleep. You have sleep here. So mothers, you see the purple dots, they talk more about this topic, food, medical care. So that's a bit coherent with gender stereotypes. Then I found fathers talk more about birth, pregnancy announcement, which is, oh, my wife is pregnant, oh, I have a baby, something like this, but not the practical aspects. And then yeah, and parents, when they're together here on parenting, they talk, sorry, it's a lot of information, I hope you follow it, but so they talk a lot about education, giving family advice. So it's more a theoretical view on child raising rather than mothers between themselves, who talk more about the practical aspects. So all that is just to tell you that I'm still doing social science. Sorry for the long explanation, but yeah, it's the end goal is just to tell you I'm actually using new methods, but the questions I'm trying to answer are kind of the same questions you would ask as a social psychologist. How did psychology help in this journey? So you have a domain knowledge, the one I've used just now in my master thesis, stereotypes, social identity, but a lot more. And so that's what will help you to build questions, sorry, I'm going to jump into the rest of it. But so domain knowledge is very important. And also, so data science, usually both the industry and the academic fields, they don't really like people who did only computer science and then went to data science, because then you wouldn't have an expertise in a application field. But people who have a passion or something something they studied before, that then they can use the methods of data science to apply it to this field. It makes much more sense, because then it's not only about, I mean, you could do only methodology, but when you want to apply those methods, it makes sense to have someone who works also in the application field, such as I'm doing now. Yes, so then storytelling is very important. That's I think it's the most important skill of data science, because you can have a lot of data that doesn't mean anything in its own, but then I think psychologists are really good at that, taking things that usually, I mean, at the first sight don't really make sense, but then make sense of that. So that's a very important thing. And sometimes people who come from very, very technical background, they lack a bit that side, because they can be very attached to the data itself and not be able to apply it to the real world and to think of stories about the data. So that's a very important skills we have. And finally, analytical skills, also related, but asking the right questions. So we are also what we have in Global Minds taught us, I think, about yeah, asking the right questions, also thinking of the implications of our questions for the society, how we can build more meaningful questions that will have an impact on society. So all those things are really important. I'm just gonna give a quick example. Like when I started the PhD program, we were doing a group project with other people. They had all studied maths before, and I noticed how they were just like, okay, how are we going to solve this, and just like how are we going to make it optimization, and just like find the best prediction, something like this. But then me, I was more like, okay, but I need to understand exactly what we're looking for, what is the question, what is the goal, why they're asking us to solve this. I mean, like a lot of more reflection about this, and not only like straight to trying to solve it. And this is very important. Okay, so that's the psychology. Then there are challenges. It's not like we already have everything that's needed for data science. We need to learn coding and maths. But something I can say is that although I loved maths in high school, then after during the my bachelor's, and it went back around the master's. But I think the way we were taught maths is not the best way, or at least it's there are a lot of different ways of teaching maths, and I feel like a lot of ways, the traditional ways of teaching maths, some people are just not made for those ways of teaching maths and of receiving this teaching. Like I was also like, I mean, end of high school, like I was really like, oh, I don't like the way it's done. Like I need to take more time to understand deeply maths. I cannot just like go super quickly. And then actually I relearned maths on my own through online courses. I took the time, and then I actually started liking it much more when I took the time to understand the details of math, and not just doing it for the exam or something like this, but doing it for understanding it deeply. So I think we have some things that block us from studying maths, and I had them too. But I think like if you take the time and you go slowly, and you're not pressured by exams or something like this, you can really learn like that you can do it. It's not, I don't think it's like ability to like a maths ability or something like this. It's just that sometimes you need to have more time, and I also needed to have more time like than other people. So I had to repeat the courses and make sure I understand, and then I could be a bit more confident. But still, I have a lot to learn. But I just mean that there is no I mean, you can always learn maths. It's never finished. Then be patient, motivated. It takes a lot of time. You will always, I mean, probably feel behind a lot. Like in my program, I always feel behind, of course, because I don't have a bachelor's in maths or a master's in maths. So I know I have less knowledge than they have. That's how it is. Like I also have more knowledge in psychology. They don't have that, and they also feel like, oh, you know so much more than we don't have. So it's not like it's only me that would feel like I lack something. It's just people completing themselves. And then accept that you can not know everything. That's also natural. You cannot know as much as someone who has a whole background in maths, as much as they cannot know everything you've learned in psychology. So you just do as much as you can, and you will learn. Usually you learn on the, how do you say, ad hoc, like in the context you learn, and it's not like you need to know everything before you start. I don't know, like I'm learning a lot right now. I'm already in the PhD program. It's not like I've learned everything before. So the PhD program, again, it's very related to social psychology. For my thesis, I'm studying group structure using natural language processing. So natural language processing is just what I did for my master thesis. It's basically analyzing linguistic data, so discourse or online, but using data science method and also social network analysis. This is the way people are connected on social media or online. And I'm studying this in the context of Iranian protests. Yeah, because this is also a topic I'm very attached to. My experience in, the PhD program is something I wouldn't say that normally, but this program, I recommend it a lot. Like, it's not at all something you would feel, I don't know, like there, first, when you go from social science to maths, I went to the maths department, and you see they have fonts. So you're not stressed about fonts. They're really good at, I don't know, like, we go to the different cities of the program, and we travel a lot, and it's so it's a cohort, like a bit like Global Minds, the program I'm studying in now. So we are like 30 students in my program, 10 from each university, and we gather every few weeks or months, and they pay for hotels and all those things. So it's a really good experience, actually. Like, we're having a lot of fun next to the PhD work, and this is rare to say, so I want to say it. And so if you feel motivated by all the things I said before, you should motivate yourself, because then the PhD program is not something like as hard as, I mean, this one at least is not something as hard as you might have heard for other programs. And also in this PhD program, I got an internship at Microsoft. So that's part of the program. It's a program that is a bit applied on, it's applied so we can have the option to go to the industry after the PhD. So at the end of the first year, we have a compulsory internship to do. And it's with one of the partners of the program, and Microsoft is one of the partners. So two PhD students of the cohort could go to Microsoft. So I was very lucky to go there. And it was also a very interesting experience, because same as Olu was saying before, like, I had a lot of stereotypes about working in industry, and industry being evil and being like not for the good of human beings, but only for thinking of themselves. But actually, I in Microsoft, I worked in the customer satisfaction department in the data science team. And it was interesting, because I've also understood that, for example, customer satisfaction, there is always the need of like the business and selling products, but at the same time, Microsoft Office, for example, is something we all use. Then customer satisfaction is basically analyzing the reviews people give and trying to make the products better for people to make better use of the products. And so it's a lot of empathy at the same time, because you need to understand what they want. You need to it has to be a win-win process. So if you're not giving good products, they're not going to be satisfied. And then and I was working on analyzing reviews related to gender neutrality in Microsoft products. So that was even more interesting, because it was not at all the evil image we had. So they were trying to adapt the products and make them gender neutral. So, and in coherence with the reviews they got from customers that were saying, that I don't feel inclusive, I don't feel included in your product, so I would like you to so then, just to finish, I don't know if I'm it's a bit getting long. Just to finish the potential careers. So after a PhD in data science, with my background in social science, you could do research there are a lot of fields that are a bit, sometimes can be the same, but just with different labels, such as computational social science and social data science. They're a bit the same, but different naming. And then social artificial intelligence is also interesting. It's like how you build artificial intelligence products that are aware of how to behave in a social setting. So that's also very related to our background in social psychology. And then in industry as a data scientist, especially related to human behavior, which is a huge area. A lot of like industry, a lot of companies, they study humans, like the people they want to sell their products to are humans, but it's also not in that much in a bad way. I think like a lot of the ways might be just like what people want, what people need, how the society goes, and also about Global Minds, a lot about how culture is evolving. For example, in Microsoft, gender neutrality, that was something that in some, I mean, I don't want to say it's something cultural because I don't think it's something cultural, but you could see in the reviews that in some countries they wouldn't talk at all about that. Like they wouldn't see this as something lacking in the products, but in other countries they would see. Maybe it might be to link to some cultures being more open to the expression of gender neutrality needs, whereas some other cultures might not be. But this is also something very interesting for a cultural psychologist to understand and to work on that. So they are, especially companies, when they evolve in like international settings, they need a lot this cultural knowledge. And that's it. Yeah, thank you very much for, I hope I added something from the last presentation to, yeah.